everyone, this is Casciani. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to be creating 4 double mats for a 4x6 photo today, and we will make 4 mats from a single piece of 12x12 light colored cardstock and 4 more mats from a dark colored cardstock. This will provide double matting for 4 photos that we can use for our scrapbook. This method will work for any photo. As you can see, I have a 4x6 photo of flowers in my garden. I want to have a 1/8 inch border around all sides of the photo. Therefore, I will add a 1/4 inch to the height and width of the photo size to get the mat size, which will be 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. For our second mat, we'll add a 1/2 inch to the height and width of our photo, and that will give us a mat size of 4 1/2 inches by 6 1/2 inches. This will give us an 1/8 inch border around the light colored mat and provide double matting for our photo. So 4x6 photo, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 inch mat, and 4 1/2 by 6 1/2 inch mat. For the first mat, which I cut from Creative Memories light gray cardstock, if we want 4 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats, we need to add the height and the width of the mat together to determine the size of our square to cut in order to get the 4 mats. So 4 1/4 plus 6 1/4 inches equals 10 1/2 inches. So from our light gray cardstock, we will cut a 10 1/2 inch square using our Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer. I'm going to extend the arm on the trimmer so that we can get our 12-inch paper on there. And I'm going to line that paper up at 10 1/2 inches, and then I'm going to cut. This leaves me with a 1 1/2 inch piece of scrap that we can use for something else. Then I'm going to rotate it a 1/4 of a turn, and I'm going to line that back up at 10 1/2 inches. And then I'm going to cut again. So now we have a 10 1/2 by 10 1/2 inch square of light gray cardstock. Now we'll line our paper up at the 4 1/4 inch mark. So we're making 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 inch mats now. So at 4 1/4, we'll line that up at the top. And then the Creative Memories trimmer has a 2-inch blade housing unit. And that's that blue unit on top. So it's 2 inches long, and the white mark that you can see on the side there is 1 inch from either the top or the end of that housing. And on the double track blade guide, we also have a ruler. So what we're going to do is we want to position the bottom edge of that 2-inch housing, blade housing, the end closest to us. We want to line that up at 7 1/2 inches on that ruler on the side. And that will put the white line, which was the cut line, at 6 1/4 inches. So we're lining the blue up at 7 1/4 inches, and the white line will be at 6 1/4, and we're going to cut up. Then we're going to take our paper, rotate it a 1/4 turn counterclockwise, and line that up at 4 1/4 inches again. We're going to bring our blade housing down to 7 1/4 inches again, and we're going to cut up. That gives us our first mat. So that's our first 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mat. We'll rotate a 1/4 of a turn counterclockwise, line that up at 4 1/4 inches again, and then we'll cut down. That gives us our second mat, which is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Then we're going to rotate a 1/4 inch counterclockwise, line that up at 4 1/4 inches again, and then we'll just cut all the way up from the bottom. And that gives us our final 2 mats, which are 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So now we have 4 mats that are 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 inches, and then we have just one small piece of scrap. So now we're going to take our dark charcoal, Creative Memories charcoal cardstock, so that we can create these 4 1/2 by 6 1/2 inch mats. So we're going to create 4 of those. So we're going to repeat the same process that we just used. So 4 1/2 plus 6 1/2 inches gives us 11 inches. And we're going to place our charcoal gray cardstock on the trimmer, and we're going to line that up at 11 inches. And we'll cut, and that 1 inch piece will be scrap for another project. We'll rotate a 1/4 turn, line this up at 11 inches, and then cut up. And now we have our 11 inch by 11 inch square. Now we're going to slide our paper over, and we're going to line that up at 4.5 inches this time instead of 4.25, because we're making the 4.5 by 6.5. And we'll bring the bottom of our blade housing down to 7.5 inches now, which will put the white line, the cutting line, at 6.5 inches. And then we will cut up, and we'll rotate a 1/4 of a turn counterclockwise, line our paper up at 4.5 inches, and we'll come down and line our blade up at 7.5 inches and cut up. We have our first 4.5 by 6.5 inch mat, rotate a 1/4 of a turn counterclockwise and cut down. We have our second mat, rotate again at 4.5 inches and just cut up. And now we have the remaining two 4.5 by 6.5 inch mats. So now we have 4.5 by 6.5 inch mats. We have a little scrap piece, and now we can put our matting together. So we're going to take our 4.5 by 6.5 and lay a 4.25 by 6.25 inch mat on top of that, which gives us 1/8 of an inch border around this first mat, and then we'll put our photo on there. And now we have our beautiful double matting. So easy, and less than 5 minutes to do this. And you either have 4 double mats for 4 photos for your scrapbook, or you could have 1 double mat. You could have 3 4.25 by 6.25 mats, plus an additional 3 4.5 by 6.5 mats, or whatever combination you want. Thank you for joining me, and if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can.